All right, friends, welcome back in. Well, not back in. I guess you could say back in for a new show. First segment of this October the 3rd show. Man, I'm out of it. I was just telling Ed a while ago, Coach.
October 3rd.
I couldn't even remember what month it was earlier today.
It's October.
Welcome in. I'm out of place. I'm the only guy that's like, I need to be sporting maroon in here, Coach Schaub.
Hey, you know what? Give me a sec. We'll get your shirt.
Yeah, we'll fix that quick. We volunteer at Samuel Walker Houston Elementary in Huntsville on Thursdays, and we have to wear our volunteer shirts so the kids know who we are when we go in there. I've never known that so many little ones need help opening up their milk cartons.
Oh, yeah.
I need help opening my milk carton, Ed. So, hey, well, welcome in, friends, as we get rocking and rolling here. Another edition of the Bulldog Nation Coaches Show where we get the privilege to sit down with head coach Dean Schaub. We also talk to some of the players. Ed, I'll dig right in before we start our Cabins and More of Texas pregame with Coach Schaub. Man, we got a little bit of a studio audience here today.
I tell you what, this is incredibly awesome. We got some coaches. We got the offensive and defensive coordinator. We got players. It's building the environment. And look at this beautiful facility that we're in. So it's just we're blessed.
Rick Warren has a book, Coach, you probably heard of it, The Purpose-Driven Life. Mm-hmm. I don't want to live the excuse-driven life, so I need to make sure that I'm here early because I don't want to keep you waiting. But, man, there is something on this road that goes behind the stadium over here. When you turn in, I didn't realize the Sonic has opened up, so that's created a little bit. I heard. But, man, there's an elementary school over there. They have the Walker County, the great constables are over there directing traffic when those kids get out of school today. So
there is a time warp over there. I think you go back in time when you go over by the elementary school. We're trying to fix that.
We're working on it. Well, let's get rolling here on our pregame here with Coach Schaub, brought to you by Cabins and More of Texas. Coach, we go back. We look at Warren, 31-0 victory, a great way to get district play starting. You go back over 2 games now, and New Waverly 71-8. Got to be proud with these guys and kind of getting jumped. We knew that Warren, I don't ever want to downplay a team. We knew that this was a team we could go in and beat. I think we took good care of them. Kind of your takeaways in that ball game, Coach.
Yeah, a lot of positive things happened. I think we had over 300 yards of offense, which is really, really good for us. Defense obviously played lights out. And this is really the first game that we really played, a complete game, offense and defense, all 4 quarters. And obviously the score showed.
As you kind of think either back or forward into the message that you're sort of putting out as the head coach, the athletic director here, is it more effective for you to put out a message that's very succinct, like, hey, we need to execute this week, or is it kind of like, here's the keys to the game, A, B, C, and D?
No, I think it's the same. It's the same expectations each week. We talk about, every football coach is saying this, no turnovers. Let's no negative plays, defense, wrap up, and alignment. So I know it sounds very generic and vanilla, but that is something we harp on, and we kind of keep it simple. We're not going to have 50 expectations, but there's some of them that are non-negotiables that we have to have each game.
We talk about special teams too, and great play by special teams this week. Saw that one punt go down there close to the goal line. That ends up resulting in a safety. You come back and look. Kind of walk
Actually, that was a touchdown.
Was it? Yeah, it was.
Yeah, I was yelling safety, but
our left guard scored on that, so he was excited.
Walk us through that play, just kind of from the time that ball was punted, maybe before that play, what you were telling the guys, and then walk us through that touchdown there, getting that in the end zone.
I think we have a different play.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, there was the punt, and we were on defense,
in the end zone offense,
and that was Dub Simmons, right? And then on offense, we fumbled, and William Colley recovered.
Yes. Both of those were nice plays.
Those were awesome plays.
They benefited us well. So, no, our punt team, and we work on it. Coach Miller's real adamant about the special teams, and we do take great pride in it. And, Kay Garrett's got a good leg, and we do quick kicks, and, he's getting better and better and better at it. Last year he was all-district punter, and this year he's just – not only his legs and his right arm, he kicks the ball well. So we got good coverage. So, we were super stoked about that.
Where do you feel like you've seen some improvements over these last 2 games? What are some areas that you feel like the guys are executing very well? And maybe what's an area that, without giving away too much, what's an area that you still think you guys need some work on?
I think defensively, I think our tackling has gotten a lot better. I know I guess it was Crockett. Coach Miller got into the kids pretty good that next week about we can't tackle like that anymore. We can't have NFL bumps and expect them to go out of bounds. So I think the last 2 weeks our tackling has done a complete 180. Mm-hmm. Offensively, we've got several, like I've talked about each week, several backs going there. Offensive line, we're we're not stepping the incorrect way. We're doing it right, and we're in sync. So things are gelling. Things, we're on the way up, which is nice to be hitting on. We haven't hit on all cylinders yet, but we're definitely hitting on most of them.
Isn't as you look into this week, isn't Newton in an interesting spot? I mean, it's the elephant in the room. We're playing Newton. They've got to travel all the way here on that long bus ride, and then afterwards they got to play Woodville, who is completing 70% of their passes.
Yeah.
Has Luke Babin, who is a Power 4 type recruit. I mean, they have they're in an interesting spot.
Yeah, Newton, they're coming a long way. And, every year we talked about this the other day. I mean, we play with Newton. There's years we're getting close. I mean, I think a couple years ago we're up 28-7 or something like that. And what's gotten us with Newton is our depth, and this year we don't have that problem. Last year most all of our kids go both ways. This year about half of them do. So Newton's only got a few going both ways. We've got a little more than a few. So with those numbers, I've always said to beat Newton, you must have an army. So we've got that this year, and from the year from here on out. So that really puts us in an advantage.
I know you look at each game, going in each week, saying, "Hey, we're going to take care of this team this week." The fan base on the outside sometimes puts an asterisk on a game, and this is one of those that the fan base I know would put the asterisk on. I'll ask you this question, Coach: New Waverly wins this game if blank. Throwing that one out at you. Is that all right?
Honestly, don't give up big plays. We always consistently stop Newton. It's just the big plays. So if we can not give up the big plays, and if we can have no negative plays on offense, like we have a chance to win, an absolute chance to win. Those are too big. They're attainable, and there's something that we work on. But if we can reduce the big plays, because they're big play athletes, and they'll grind it, and we're usually good at stopping the run. But when they slip by us, it is what it is. But stopping the big plays and no negative plays offensively, and we definitely have a chance.
Thinking back to sort of the last few games, you've got to be really pleased with the play that you saw out of your kids, defensively swarming to the football, the decision against Warren to when maybe we could have gone on that fourth down, but you decided, and Coach Drade decided to play the field position game.
Yeah.
And then the kids rising to the occasion within the decisions that the coaches are making.
Yeah.
You've got to feel really good about that.
Yeah, I tell you what feels good as a coach is, and it's taken years to do this, but I think all our kids have bought in. I mean, none of them have probably there's no programs that 100% of kids buy in 100% of the time, but we've got really great buy-in, and the kids believe in what we're doing. Even when things aren't going well, they're still locked in. They still come to work. So, that's been nice to see.
I think one of the things that this interview, your coach's show has revealed is that the kids, and maybe this was the way other years, I think back to, Joe Bryant, Dylan Schaub, how bought in those kids were. But, getting to interview and hearing an interview with Lewis Smith and hearing an interview with Dylan Thomas and hearing how they said, they're mentioning Coach Drade, Coach Miller, Coach Murphy, all these other coaches, that important things. The kids are bought in right now. And maybe it's been that way before. I just didn't see it. But it's a beautiful thing to know that everybody is rowing the boat.
Yeah, and I think –
and I probably shouldn't say that because I was in the Army.
No. Yeah, really. Beat Navy. Come on, man. No, I will say this. A couple years ago, we kind of split staffs. We've got really 4 offense, 4 defensive coaches. All the kids, they've got one D-line coach for JV varsity and the freshmen. So I think that's the coaches is more intimate with the kids. They have a better relationship with the kids. They're one-on-one with the kids. And I think that really has made a difference looking back in the past versus all 8 coaches doing offense at the same time and all 8 coaches doing defense. I think splitting it up it's given ownership to the coaches. They've got their position, their thing. They've got kids that flock to them more than the others and vice versa. So I think every kid on our team would probably say there's that one coach that's their ride or die. They believe in and they're very, very close with, which I think splitting the coaches up like that is opened up the door for relationships, I think.
You've had some great additions to this squad this year, not just on the team, but, of course, with the coaching staff. How many games does it kind of take for the coaching staff to kind of learn each other and how they call a game and work together in a game?
I would honestly say probably Huntington, the first win, Huntington.
That's where it was kind of complete.
I really think so. And we needed that Huntington game at that time, and I'm glad it came at that time. So I think, the coaches are hitting on all cylinders, and we get along well. We hang out outside of school.
Whatever little time you get.
Yeah, whatever little time. And what I noticed with this staff differently is a lot of these kids, they'll come in the office and hang out with us and just, it's, when some of these kids graduate, like I know Coach Roddy's like me, we're big emotional sissies at time, and there'll be tears shed when these kids our last game together.
Yeah.
Can I throw a life question out there? I've always wanted to ask you this, and I feel like it's kind of a good seg into this, what you're just talking about. What's maybe one of the biggest life lessons that you've taught athletes, maybe this year or over the years that you've been here, something that really stands out to you that you try to relate to with these guys?
Man, I think we say adversity all the time, but my God, I tell them just like this season, starting running back goes down, quarterback goes down, starting defensive lineman goes down, and we just talked about and we'll bring in the things that are going on in their lives, and like, man, it's adversity. Bad things are going to happen. My God, you got next play mentality. So that's what really we've harped on this year. Even in my personal life with my family, there's some stuff going on that, man, it's, bad things happen to good people. So what? You just gotta build a bridge, move on, and next play mentality. So that's what we're trying to tell the kids. When bad things go in life, you're going to have to move on. When you're a dad, you're going to have to still be a dad if it's a bad day at work. And it's it is what it is. We got a next play mentality and got to handle adversity, man.
Yeah.
That goes to everybody out there.
Without getting into specifics in a game like this, an important game like Newton, a district game, they've kind of owned the district for a long time. And this game may seem kind of easy to them, but is this sort of the game that sometimes you and your staff sort of break down the walls in your own mind and sort of challenge your conventional wisdom a little bit without reinventing the wheel? Sometimes?
Honestly, Newton's a very good school. They've got a really, really rich tradition. But we treat it like we're going to like we treated Warren last week, and we know there's better athletes this week, and same thing with Anderson Shower next week. So we don't really change what we're doing. Our schemes might change, but every district game is super, super important, and it happens to be Newton this week, and next week we'll be doing the same thing about Anderson.
Yep.
Well, Coach, looking forward to it. Going to be a great game. We know one thing that I love, and I like to highlight the community, is New Waverly shows up. This is still a community where literally you feel like every light in town goes off. I've asked you this last year, and I haven't asked you this question this year, so maybe there's some new folks joining. But just from your coaching perspective, how much does this community mean to you when they show up, and what does that do for these young men on the field?
Oh, man, guys love that. Guys love it very much. Guys love it when we travel. When we go to Anderson next week, we'll fill that complete stands. And I know, I could put myself in their shoes. When they turn around and see everybody they know there, they're going to play better. It's just so New Waverly's always been super, super impressed the way we travel. Obviously, at home we do well, but we've traveled very well too.
Well, one of these days at halftime, if you guys are up pretty big, and I know you're laser focused, but we'll have to go over and get Coach some ice cream at halftime.
That's right, because Coach doesn't get a chance to get ice cream.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, Coach, we appreciate your accessibility all year long. Looking forward to this matchup versus Newton. The good news is there's still a lot of the season left.
Oh, yeah.
We're just digging in, getting started here in district play. Man, we appreciate you so much.
Sir.
Thanks for all you do.
Thanks, Rob.
Not just on the
Coach.
field, but what you do for these young men in life, Coach.
Thank you.
We're going to step aside and take hey, one question came in for you, Coach. I want to know, do you know Justin Kring from Huntsville? He said, hey, Coach Schaub, you were my coach in 7th grade.
How cool is that?
Yeah, I know Justin. Good dude.
7th grade, man.
Yeah.
This is like you're a magician. You just turned this thing on.
Well, I know he sent the comment, yeah.
But we get people that are like out there on the internet.
Hey, don't read everything that might pop up on there.
Yeah,
please don't do that.
I blocked that one, Coach. No, I'm just kidding, man. Well, all right, we're going to take our break. We're going to interview a couple of these student athletes that are here with us today. We'll continue on. Big thanks to everybody. Let us know that you're out there, too. Send us a hello message. We'd love to hear you out there. That'll wrap up our Cabins and More of Texas pregame with Coach Schaub. We'll have player interviews when we come back. Stay with us. This is the Bulldog Nation Coaches Show here on a Thursday. All right, back at it. We just want to keep you waiting there. The anticipation waiting on. It's always a lot of fun, Ed. Man, thank you so much for being here, Ed. I couldn't do this without you. And Ed sets me straight because I was telling him earlier, I can't remember what month it was. Couldn't remember a lady today that I've known for several years. Come in here, start trying to replay the game in my head. I was like, what was it, 40-8 last week? You're like, no, that was 2 weeks ago. So, just sometimes, man, ginkgo, right? Is that stuff good? The ginkgo natural supplement?
I don't know. I think, the best thing, I feel the sharpest when I exercise or lift weights.
Yeah, well, definitely that's why I'm not feeling sharp then, man. But one young man who probably is feeling sharp, and we're now proud to welcome on the show none other than the senior playing on the O-line, our good friend Hunter McBride. Hunter, good to see you, man.
Good to see you.
How you doing, young man?
I'm doing pretty good.
We haven't had you on before.
No, sir.
You know what? I already get the vibe from Hunter. Like, this is the type of guy that you want to be around. Just go run through a bunch of brick walls.
Hunter is a tough guy.
I'm feeling it, man.
I tell you what, just watching Hunter these last 3 years, I mean, there's particularly last year and this year, there's just been a metamorphosis in the way that he's played, and we're so blessed to have him on the offensive line at New Waverly and his brother. These guys are Hayden. These guys are just we really need to do a show on the brothers because we've got the McBrides, the Thomases, the Davises.
I'd like to just sit out and let you guys host it,
The Dimpreys. We've got a ton of brothers on this team. And, that's really how cool is that you get to play with your brother?
Oh, it's awesome. I mean, we don't play on the same side of the ball, but it's fun to experience that with him.
Hunter, tell us a little bit about just growing up, man. Are you from here? Give us a little bit of the life history of Hunter McBride.
Yes, sir. So I was born here and whatnot, but I've been in Texas my whole life.
New Waverly? Born in New Waverly?
I was born. Yes, sir.
Okay.
I've been here my whole life. So
awesome, man. Well, this community has been so great, so supportive. You've been here now for a few years, you, of course, living here forever, but I'm talking specifically on the football team. How much has this community meant to you as a player?
I mean, it's great when we see everybody come out. I mean, they're really supportive, and I think that's really what hypes us up.
I need to ask this question real quick. I know Ed's got some questions too, but I have to ask this because I'll forget. We were talking before we came back. I've noticed like the mullet is gone among you guys nowadays. What happened to the mullet? Because I feel like 4 or 5 years ago the mullet was in. What has happened to it?
I mean, I guess nobody really wants it anymore. There's new hairstyles that come out and everybody wants that. It's just the new best thing.
Ed had one 20 years ago. I found a photo. I dug one up on
I think it was a little longer.
I
than
dug it
20
up on
years.
Ancestry.com. And I'm just kidding. Well, we're proud of you, man. We'll talk some football now. Ed's got a couple questions, and we'll bounce back and forth with you.
Yeah. So, Hunter, we're grateful to have you today, and so thank you for spending time with us. I think we really wanted this year to have. We want to absolutely have the running backs and the quarterbacks and the receivers, but we really wanted to get an opportunity to talk to the offensive line. Talk to me about, your experience here playing at offensive line for New Waverly. Kind of like who are some of the people that you think back and you looked up to, and, now you're that guy.
I think back to Jude. Jude was really one that I looked up to. I mean, he was a big part of this team. But I played O-line since I played football at New Waverly. So
certainly we're talking about Jude Shields, senior last year, number 60, now off at Blinn College and doing a great job there.
Well, as a senior, you've had to develop some leadership skills. I always like asking you guys these questions. A lot of them are the same, but it's different answers from each one of you. What are some things that you've learned now as a senior that's allowed you to be a leader to some of the other guys? And the second part of that question is, who are you mentoring? Who's looking up to you, and who are you helping?
I mean, I feel like we just got to be there for each other, especially on the O-line. We got to have good communication. We're like a brother system on the O-line. And I feel like someone who really looks up to me, I talk to him a lot, probably Cedric. So
one thing, too, that I wanted to mention, playing not in that skill position, but definitely detrimental. Every 11 players on the field, so detrimental to the way the team functions, especially on the offensive line. there goes your quarterback. Ran it back about 40 yards in. Maybe walk us through that play and just how excited you get for your quarterback when he has an opportunity to do that, because that's you guys on the line up front making those blocks.
Yes, sir. It's really exciting once you see that. I mean, we did a good job and we made that happen, and it's a good time.
When you think back to some of the plays this last week in the Warren game, and that ball was out on the ground in the end zone, and William Colley was lucky enough to grab that. Is there a little bit of jealousy there that you weren't a little closer to the football?
Well,
because isn't that kind of every lineman's dream?
Yes, sir. Last year, I actually got the chance. I think I did that last year.
Okay.
But I was really happy for him, for Will. I mean, it was a great experience.
Yeah, what a great moment for New Waverly football. What a heads-up play. And we've seen a lot of those heads-up plays out of this really this sophomore, junior, and senior class like none other. I mean, we've turned over the ball or we've gotten the ball or the ball's been on the ground, and all of this team has made heads-up plays.
You think about guys, too, and we've said this, a stable of running backs. You got a whole kennel of running backs back there if you want to keep it in Bulldog terminology. So we got a whole pack, a whole kennel, whatever you want to call it. Are those guys communicating with you? Do you communicate with your running backs? And if so, what are some of the things that you talk about?
Yes, sir. I as soon as I figure out who the running back is on the field, we're pretty close with all the running backs. And just when they're on the field, I try to hype them up just before the play happens, because I feel like usually that helps them a lot more. But, yeah.
So we've got, really 4 to 5 running backs that we've been using this year. Tell me about the difference that you see using, multiple running backs versus just one. Like, what is that beneficial in terms of your blocking or in terms of down and distance or maybe you have no thoughts on it at all, but
well, I feel like we have certain running backs that are better at certain things, and I feel like they're put in that position for that. And but yeah.
The only game information we're going to give away, by the way, we're only running one running back this week. Only one guy's going to – so just really focus on that if you're watching this.
We got a new kid. He just moved into town.
Just moved in. Came in from what's that school? The Bishop School?
Bishop Sycamore.
Bishop Sycamore. He's no, just
My goodness.
Let's get back a little bit to football. I know I kind of steer the train a different direction sometimes.
Are we ready for the
got a couple more. I do have another.
That's right. We do have some more questions.
Newton, big time program coming. A lot of story, a lot of history, but you guys have story and history as well. I like to ask these questions too, just like I asked Coach Shaba earlier. New Waverly wins this ball game if what?
I feel like if we just pound it, just run it straight at them, but we gonna give them a fight.
How do you avoid the hype? And by the hype, I mean, how do you avoid playing 2-3 weeks prior to a matchup like Newton? How do you avoid not seeing Newton that week and just really working through the schedule, not looking ahead is what I mean? How do you just stay focused on the game at hand?
I mean, I really just focus on just what we're about to do and just make sure that I execute what I'm supposed to do.
Yeah, so I think I am out of questions other than my trivia
That's
questions.
what I was waiting for.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. All right. So
this is the most critical part. By the way, this is now a class credit we've heard.
This is a class credit.
So if you don't get it right.
Yeah, that's why Mr. Drain was walking around. He wants to make sure that you get these correct. So, okay.
There's sweat pouring out over here on Jackie Harper.
Jackie Harper.
He's sweating, man.
Okay, so before the interview today, I showed you a play, and in that play there was a running back and a quarterback and a fake, and we saw a number of kids going after the fake from the opposing team. Was the number of kids taking the fake 0, 1, 6 or 7, or 11? So 6 or 7 is the A, B, C, and D. 0, 1, 6 or 7, or 11.
I'm going to go with 6 or 7.
All right, look at that.
Don't ask me these questions. 100%. I would fail.
Okay. In football, does where's my question? Yeah, here we go.
You get around me, you'll start forgetting things, Ed.
Is it in blocking, does the low man win or does the low man lose?
The low man wins.
Yeah, baby.
Always. Yes, sir.
All right. Mr. Drain, he got 100%.
Yeah, 100%. That's extra credit right there. So, well, hey, man, camera's right here on you. Quite a few people watching here, going back listening as well. Who do you want to send a shout out to tonight?
I want to send a shout out to my mom. She's always been there for me, always pushing me to do my best.
Hey, what's something too? Can you divulge maybe something that maybe the general audience doesn't know about Hunter McBride? Is there anything like any games that you play? Is there any activity that you do, like hobbies you have? What's something that maybe the world doesn't know about Hunter McBride?
I mean, I guess a lot of people don't know that I like to play paintball. That's a big part of my life.
Is that that's still in, huh?
Yes, sir.
All right, cool, man. Well, I know who to call because I don't know anybody else that's ever said that in this area. So if I ever notice anything, on the signs, I'll know who to call.
Yes, sir.
No, I know that you don't do that. Well, finally, man, you're watching this 10 years from now. What do you tell your future self?
Keep doing your best.
He's right there. Yeah, tell him.
Keep doing your best, man. Keep doing your best.
All right, there he is. Hey, one last one, Ed. They're just popping into me now. Where do you want to be after this? Where college? What's on your mind? Career-wise.
I'm going to trade school. I'm going to get certified in welding and then just pursue my life from there.
Awesome. Well, there you go. We've got a great future ahead of you, young man. So,
yes, sir.
Once again, Hunter McBride, everybody. Appreciate him being here. We're going to step aside, take a break. There's a young man that's just been sweating bullets over there. Real quick, how do you think that your teammate over here, Mr. Harper's going to do? How would you grade him on an A to an F? What would his grade be?
I'm going to give him a C-.
Oh, okay. Well, he's got some work to do. So We'll step aside. We'll take a break. When we come back, it is the Heart Man coming up. Stay with us. More to come here. This is the Bulldog Nation Coaches Show. Welcome back, friends. We continue on here. A beautiful Thursday evening here in New Waverly, Texas. The new hamburger place has opened up. Everyone in New Waverly is excited about the Sonic. Ed, are you excited? Or not really? You're saying, eh.
I just can't get it. I don't want to hurt the Sonic people's feelings, but
you're not a Sonicer.
I'm not a Sonic.
That's
guy.
okay.
I'm, I like all the mom and pop stuff.
I'm a foot-long cheese coney-er with onions and mustard type guy. Onions.
They do have good hot dogs. I'll say they have a couple different varieties. So
I don't know. Those slushies are kind of good.
The slushies are good.
I was kind of like extending this on because I was waiting on the Harp Man to chime in. Jackie Harp. Can we call you the Harp Man?
Y'all can call me whatever y'all want to. One
of my favorite things is when you go out there and make a big play. Jackie Harper, by the way, senior, plays on the D-line. One of my favorite things is when you go out there and make a big play or you get violent. We've heard that word about getting violent on the field. That just means playing with aggression and taking care of business. My favorite thing to say now is, man, he's playing the music out there. That's what we like to say, the harp, sir. Playing the harp, man. And you're making guys, when you hit them sometimes, you're probably making them hear harps in their ears, right?
Yes, sir. I try. I try,
Well, let us know a little bit about Jackie Harper story. Did you grow up here? Let us know a little bit about just growing up, man.
I was born in the Woodlands. I've lived in New Waverly for 18 years now. Same house, never moved. So community is really a big part of who I am.
Did you live in the Woodlands or just born in the
hospital? No, sir. I was
just
born in the Woodlands.
So that's where my children were born, down in that area, too.
Texas Children's.
Well, awesome, man. New Waverly, how much does it mean to you when you put on that Bulldog uniform?
It means a lot. It's a bigger family than what I have. And so whenever we just come together as one, it's just something special.
How have you grown, in this program? Maybe what were some of the challenges when you first got on playing, and then you fast forward to now being a senior. How much have you grown, and where have you grown?
So, whenever I started playing football, I had like anger issues, kind of. I guess I wasn't really mature. Like I just acted off of emotion, and football has helped me like control that and grow in that sort of way. I guess you could say.
I can tell that you're a serious guy, but you got a sense of humor also, right?
Yes, sir.
Are you kind of the jokester on the team, or
I try.
Okay,
I try.
How are the jokes, guys? Are they kind of Brody's over there? So they're all saying kind of middle. You got this dude over here saying no.
Hey, man.
It's a team effort, guys. Come on.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. So do you feel like football gives you a good outlet for some of those
Yes,
things?
sir.
That's good.
Yes, sir. I really do.
And
Sometimes you just got to hit somebody, you know. And football's a good way because you ain't getting in trouble for hitting somebody on a football field.
So talk to me a little bit about, you've been playing varsity for a long time. I know you fought back through some injuries. But talk to me about maybe the other years and the other defensive linemen that you've played around alongside. You know, you're kind of a guy that was, varsity guy, freshman, sophomore, all through New Waverly. But is there anything different about this defensive line versus, and I'm thinking back to, playing with guys like Dylan Schaub versus, what you have now with the guys you're playing with.
100% is very different.
Very
Yes, sir.
different.
Yes, sir. I feel like as a D-line this year, we're more involved in each other's lives, and like we're more of a family than we were, like past tense-wise.
Mm-hmm.
We know each other a lot more, and we can talk to each other and help bring each other up and play with that sort of intensity I guess we weren't
And how
able
does
to play
that
with before.
So how does that manifest itself in terms of your output on the field?
Well, if you I'm trying to think of the words.
We can use simple words here too. Brody, he only likes one syllable words if he uses any words at all.
Yes, sir. No, I feel like the closer you are with the guys on the field, the better you play.
Yeah.
Because you just know that they're there for you.
Yeah. Those guys are kind of like your brothers. They have your back.
Yes, sir.
You have their back.
And
yeah.
you know you can go to war with them and they'll be there for you.
Yeah, that's esprit de corps. I've often thought about football as being the one sport that's kind of both love and war at the same time.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Take us, Jackie Harper again joining us, senior defensive lineman. Take us back to Warren a week ago. Some of the positive takeaways of that ball game. The defense pitch of the shutout, man. Congratulations on that.
Out.
Wanted to do it a week before, but that's sometimes guys come in, you'll still take the 40-8 victory, but I mean you added up 70 plus to 8 over the last 2 games. Warren, though, what was most effective for y'all? How did y'all get that shutout?
We all played as a team and we tackled the way we were supposed to tackle, and we read our keys. We didn't do that the week before. Like we were sloppy on that part, but we fixed it that week. So I feel like we did good on that.
The tackling, I mean, obviously, very critical component to the defense. You got to make tackles, and I know sometimes when we're seeing the games early on, we're like, guys, just wrap up. You did that. I felt like this may be, and Ed may chime in on this too, but I felt like maybe defensively that was one of the most complete games, obviously with the shutout, but I felt you guys were doing everything right. How do you practice? How do you get better at tackling? Because we know it's such a core thing. It's like telling a guy on a basketball team to make your free throws,
yes,
right?
Sir. You can practice it as much as you want to, but until you really get it instilled in your head that you have to wrap up to make a tackle, then you'll actually start wrapping up and making more tackles. Because you can't just chicken shoulder somebody, you got to wrap up and bring them to the ground. I think we finally understood that.
Rob had mentioned this last week being sort of the most complete defensive game. Coach Drotty, Coach Miller, and Coach Schaub really opting to play field position against Warren, especially in that to get that second touchdown, punting the ball, getting them deep in their own territory. But talk to me about what's going through your mind when the other team's back's against the wall. Like, are you thinking about touchdowns? Are you thinking about safeties? Are you thinking about sacks? What's going on in your head?
So I'm not going to lie to you. Whenever they were backed up on their goal line, whenever we had that punt, it was a great punt. We went out there and we were all talking to each other. We got to get this safety. We get this safety morale.
So you guys were thinking safety, because that's what I said on the broadcast.
And then you get a bonus. You get instead of safety, you end up getting 6.
Yes, sir. Well, Jackson, me, Jackson, and Brody, we ended up knocking the ball out, and then the linebackers came back and they scooped it up and touchdown, and we all got really hyped for that. Like, it was a great thing for the team, and I think we just built off that a little bit.
Yeah, one of the things that I know that a lot of high school coaches that I've heard them say is it does not matter how the points get scored, whether it's offense, defense, or special teams. The team with the most points at the end of the buzzer is declared the winner.
Yes, sir.
So that was really a great example and an exciting example, exciting for us to call it.
Yeah, a lot of fun, man.
It's always great whenever defense gets to score. It's always great when score.
Looking ahead to Newton, I'm going to change the script here. Now, I've been waiting for what do they call it, like smart aleck answer? Is that? I've been waiting for the smart aleck answer on this, and I know that, Jackie, you're not going to bring it because I just brought that point up. New Waverly, let's word it like this. Newton loses this game. No, let me word it like this. New Waverly, no, we're going to make it positive for you guys, okay? Newton loses this game if they what? And don't say puts less points on the board.
Newton's going to lose this game, not because, but
no, I like that. I like speaking it in, man. Yeah, there you go.
If they
they come out and they're sloppy, just not doing what they're supposed to do, because you got to think about them. They beat us every time they played us, so they're coming in probably going to think it's going to be an easy win. It's not going to be an easy win.
Yeah. So for them, they've got, I think, I mentioned this with Coach Schaub, they've got the travel here. And then for them, they've got to go up against Woodville, who is a newcomer to the district, is very much an enigma.
And smoked Trinity 53-6 last week.
And absolutely, like a lot of the things that Woodville does play, are an advantage over a Newton team. The way they pass to the outside, they got a big athletic quarterback. If you press him, he's going to be a threat to run. So there's got to be a lot of stuff on their minds with these 2 weeks. New Waverly, who's always played them tough, at least for a good portion of the game. So we're looking forward to it. Are we at the trivia time yet?
It's trivia time.
Okay.
Hey,
all right.
Here we go. Our scholars back there that take grades, they're ready. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
It's proctored
So
test.
here is the first question. Games are won. This is multiple choice.
Okay.
Games are won, A, in the trenches, B, in the backfield, or C, in the secondary.
In the trenches.
In the trenches.
In the trenches.
That is 100% correct. Great job. All right, number 2. It's also a multiple choice. Violence of action, violence of execution, or both.
Both. You just got to be violent all the time.
Bonus
All
points.
right, bonus points, yeah. Well, I don't know if I have a bonus question. I could have. I already gave away the answer, but we'll see if maybe we should ask our studio audience, who was the last team in the district to beat Newton?
Oh, that's a good one. Do you know the answer to this
I
one?
know the answer, and I think I may have shared it with you.
I don't really. Well,
Does anybody in our studio audience know?
Brody does.
You can shout. You
Brody,
can shout
what's-
it out.
what's the answer,
You don't have to
Brody?
raise your hand.
Warren.
Is beating Newton.
All right.
They have a streak that is second in the state for district wins, and they've done a tremendous job. They're a tremendous football team.
I have a final trivia question. It's a tiebreaker.
It's a tiebreaker.
How many strings does a harp have?
I want to say 8.
No.
No?
You just think of the ladies. Have you ever seen someone play the harp?
Yeah.
At the end they always get. It's like it's the most. I don't know how to describe it. I'm not making fun. It's
like 30.
It's mesmerizing to watch someone because they're like this with
Yes,
that
sir.
thing. Go higher.
I'm going to go
40.
63.
63. 47.
47.
My age plus 7 more strings. 47.
But that was
strings.
just a bonus question. So you got 100%
Yeah.
on the other questions.
And we said that because each string represents a hit. You're going to have 47 strings coming up
So-
versus
Yes,
Newton.
sir.
Mr.
That's the
Drain,
plan.
he gets extra credit.
All right, young man. Camera's right there. Who do you want to say hello to tonight?
Shout out my family, my mom, my dad. They've always pushed me. They've always pushed me to be the best version of myself I can be. So
What if you
wouldn't be here without them.
That's good, man. What if you had to shout out to any players on your team?
Any players?
Any players on your team? Who would you shout out to? These two guys are like, you're going to say our name.
Players. I'd probably shout out Hunter McBride, yeah.
Okay, Hunter. Brody.
Hunter McBride.
Brody gets the second shout out, maybe.
Maybe
No.
third.
Whatever, man. All right, my favorite question, too. 10 years from now, you're looking at yourself right there in that camera. What do you want to tell yourself?
Keep on going. Don't stop. Don't stop.
And speaking of don't stop, college coming up, where do you want to go? What do you want to do? What's your career path?
So I did a lot of thinking on this. I'm going to a Northwestern Lineman Academy after I graduate high school.
Nice.
Just because did a lot of thinking about it, and it's what's best for me at the time.
Yeah.
So I'm
That's
going to go straight to work.
Very admirable work and tough work, too.
Yes,
man.
sir.
So that's
Work in
great.
tough conditions, very much needed right now. And there's always a disaster
Yes, sir.
somewhere in the U.S. that those guys fix it. And I tell you, your lights are out, and those guys are like a godsend.
I always say don't blame the guys because they work their tail off.
Yes, sir.
Blame the corporate companies
Yes,
for
sir.
not having the resources when they need them, because that's the truth. I mean, I've barked about a local energy company saying bury the lines out in our neighborhood and what do? This isn't you guys, but every time there's a storm, they just put a wood pole right.
Yeah.
I said if y'all would have just buried the line,
But you still even
gotta
if,
have it.
But you still need linemen, even if the
Gotta have 'em.
stuff's underground.
Yep.
you know.
So, well, admirable, man. Hey,
Yes,
praying
sir.
for you. We know, and I just want to tell you this. I feel like I need to tell you this. The best is yet to come.
Yes, sir.
You're going to face a lot of adversity in life. You're going to face adversity on the football team and on the football field, like Coach said. But just keep your head up, remain focused, and I always have that. Even at 40, Ed, I still have the same attitude every morning, no matter what I'm doing. I've been blessed to call Division I college football. I've been blessed to call 2-man or 6-man football games. It doesn't matter where you're at. You find joy. I can say this without hesitation that I have found some of the most joy that I've ever had in my broadcasting career, not because you guys are here right now, but broadcasting this football team. There's something special about you guys. There's something special about this community, and don't ever give up on yourself and keep on plugging away, all right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right, well, Ed and I are going to close it out. When we come back, we'll talk a little bit about this matchup versus Newton, and then we will shut her down. I got to get home. I got a little baby at home that needs her daddy. So we will take a break. Stay with us. More to come as we close it out here in just a few moments. This is the Bulldog Nation Coaches Show here on a Thursday. It's also brought to you by Rally Point Advisors, some guy named Ed Watto, simplifying negotiation.
That's right. That's right.
That's right. We'll be back in just a few moments. Stay with us. All right, friends, back at it as we shut her down here in just a few moments. Thanks for being with us on the Bulldog Nation Coaches Show. It is going to be a matchup. I'm glad that I didn't ask this question, Ed, because it's one that I wanted to save for us, but I am glad that we're getting a Newton game out early this year, not having to wait towards the end. Let's just go ahead and get some of this tough competition knocked out right away. Not saying that any other competition in district's tough, because there's a lot of great teams in our district here in 12-3A2, but I'm glad we're getting this one done now. It's a Newton team that's coming in 2-3 overall, but they played some tough matchups. They started this season and went 0-2. They lost 30-8, and then at Jefferson on the road, 47-38. They get that victory versus Tatum, a slight victory, 32-30. And then, of course, last week, though, Anderson-Shiro, they just went lights out, 62-7. So, but here we are. None of those matter. It's now New Waverly, and I'm looking forward to this matchup. mainly because it's right now coming up, but secondly because it's here on our home field. It's going to be a really good test for our young men.
I think it's good for both teams that this game is earlier in the season. I think, it's just the benefit of the district realignment. I think it's probably, quite honestly, a tougher situation for Newton. Like I alluded to, they got this long drive, and then next week they got to play Woodville, who is, just an enigma for everybody, other than knowing that, Luke Babin has been their quarterback, and they got a bunch of other great receivers. They just really took it to Trinity on Trinity's home field. And so I think Woodville is a tough competitor. Newton, I think their win and loss record is totally immaterial. I think they're a better football team. They've played better competition. They played a Louisiana team. They played a 4A team. And look, New Waverly played up, but not, I think, quite to the level that Newton did. So Newton's played very, very good competition. They're a great football program. They're very unique. They do a lot of things that are really special. You walk into their stadium, it's a beautiful facility. They got all of those state championship trophies there. They make a lot of things look easy. They've got a guy whose name we were calling last year, a whole bunch, Raylan Adams. He's a Bearcat, right? They got other kids playing all around the country. There's probably more kids from Newton that could go off to play college than do because they just don't want to go far away from home. I think it's, a small, tight-knit community. But, yeah, we got tons and tons of respect for Newton.
It's going to be a good matchup, and it's going to take the crowd to come out here and cheer on these guys. And you know what I love about saying that? We don't have to really ask for that. They're going to come out. We're going to have a sea of maroon coming up here on Friday night, and we want all of you to come out. Of course, you can watch the game right here on SHN, but it's going to be a lot better for you to come out and be a part of this action. It's over a 2-hour drive for Newton to come here to New Waverly, about a 2-hour, 10-minute drive. So they're already going to have that working against them. And I think this community shows up, these young men show up, and it feels like I'm not just being overly optimistic. I'm a realist at some point too. I'm very rarely a pessimist, but I'm a realist. I am an optimistic person, but I feel like there's just something different. There's a different energy about this team this year, and I don't know if it has to do, we've mentioned every week about this facility, but it just seems like there's this pendulum shift and this momentum shift here at New Waverly. I think a lot of that has to happen as this team is growing, this community is growing. You've got a lot more players on this team this year.
There's a lot more differentiation and a lot of things that need to be prepared for, right, if you're Newton. I think that's a part of it. We've got kids that are that really multiple backs in the offense, different styles that are capable, all very capable, and all of the 4 to 5 running backs really that you can see for New Waverly would be a starter.
Yeah, and unfortunately we're only going to be running that one, the new kid.
The new kid, yeah, and that new big defensive lineman. I think Newton is a team that we know pretty well. We called them in the in the state playoffs. We had an opportunity to call them up in their playoff game in Carthage when they just really dismantled their opponent, who escapes me at the moment. But really nice people from Newton. That so we tremendous respect for them. Always will. They're a great team, great program, and so I think for New Waverly, the kids at New Waverly are bought in. But that's why we play the game, right? Tomorrow night, we'll see how this all transpires.
What can we see? Well, show up, come to the game, and you'll see what you see. That's all we're going to tell you, and we're looking forward to it. It's going to be a great matchup, Ed.
One thing that I think I know we have the broadcast, and we're getting lots of people line for the broadcast. We're getting a lot of people too that are in the stands and are tuning into the broadcast. But there are a couple people that said, "Hey, the Spirit Radio app, I got on that because I was driving and I wanted to put it into my phone through the car." So maybe you could you talk a little bit about the broadcast and Spirit Radio app, and then maybe all the other things that go on with Spirit Radio for people that
I would love to. Thank you, Ed. Yeah, so Spirit Radio, it's a station that we're building in Huntsville. That's where, of course, my house is, and we're there. But proud to be here in New Waverly, obviously, a place we wanted to be to cover these kids. But It's a Christian radio station, a lot of positive, inspirational, just uplifting. You know, we live in a world where there's so much negativity going on. And we can't ignore that. We have to address certain things that are happening, but I also believe that we need to be surrounded by a lot of positivity, and that's what the station's all about. So we decided this year, because we have that app, that why don't we just put New Waverly football on it? It's already out there, and so folks can go to spiritradio.fm. That is the website, spiritradio.fm. There's links there to download, whether you're an Apple user, an Android user, or you can just listen right through the website as well. So that's one way to do it. And the cool thing about it is if you're watching on YouTube, obviously you can watch on YouTube, but if you're driving and you don't have that YouTube Premium subscription, as soon as your screen goes off, then you lose the audio. If you download the Spirit Radio FM app, you can hear that audio uninterrupted. We go live, try to go live 30 minutes prior to every game with our 3 Spoons Yogurt countdown to kickoff. Then we'll have the Cabins and More pregame with Coach Schaub, and we continue on. And, of course, all season, by the way, brought to you by our friends at Walker County Federal Credit Union. We couldn't do any of this without any of them and a lot of the local support as well. But, yeah, download that app. It's all about promoting good, and that's where we put the game. So it's just a different destination. I always say this, every week I try to just add one more little nuance, even things that people may not see, but something that we try to add, just like this show. I mean, you know, a couple of weeks ago I said, let's throw the logo up behind us. And so every week we try to add one more. What did we add this week? Well, we added the Coach Brought the Table. So there's one less thing that we got to bring in every week, right? So we appreciate that, Coach.
And we added some tacos. And we did have more of a studio audience. But I just wanted to highlight the Spirit Radio app for anybody that might need to tune in, or maybe they're driving or something, and then they can connect their phone through Bluetooth.
Do it through the
Bluetooth.
Bluetooth.
It's probably easier than doing YouTube while
if
you're
driving.
Yeah.
Here's another cool thing. Maybe you're at the house and you can't pull up YouTube for whatever reason. Maybe you're in the middle of working on something or doing, but you just want to hear. A lot of people like to just hear sometimes if they're in the middle of something else. If you have Alexa, you can say, Alexa, listen to Spirit Radio FM on TuneIn. That will bring it up. Or if you have Google Home, you can say, okay, Google, listen to Spirit Radio FM on TuneIn. And it'll just pull it right up. Super simple, Ed. So a lot of fun. We're going to be on the call, and it's just a privilege. You know, someone the other day had said something about, man, that's so great that y'all get to do this. And I said, look, man, it ain't about us. It is a privilege. We are here, Ed and I both, and Ed especially, so ingrained in this community. We are here to promote this program and these student athletes and to give them the exposure that they so deserve. You know, a lot of these small schools a lot of times may not have the resources. And it's not a knock on any school, but there's a lot of programs out there, even the big media, they don't want to come into small communities and cover these young people. Well, guess what? They have the same opportunities that any kid from a 6A school have as far as the coverage goes. We need to bring it to them. That's why we wanted to be here to New Waverly.
Yeah,
These guys
we
deserve
really appreciate you, Rob, for everything that you're bringing. And I think, you know, I told you before, I know you got to go, but I'll just kind of wrap up with this thought. You know, I lived in a rural community, but every one of my high school games pretty much were broadcast. I was fortunate. We had a pretty good football team, so that kind of brought the media. But I remember they had to bring this giant van with like 3 guys in it and these mega antennas. And, I mean, you do this all in a box.
There it is right there.
I mean, what you do is, and you've taught me many, many things, and so it's just we're so appreciative for you that we can highlight these kids because it's Texas football. There's football games going on everywhere, right?
Yeah.
And even all over East Texas that you think is, you know, pretty desolate, but Texas is growing, and so as a community, we're really appreciative of you and you know, your time away from your family, Bridget and the kids.
Yeah, appreciate it, Ed. And couldn't do it without you. Couldn't do it without our coaches here, too, and Coach Schaub being so gracious for allowing us to be here. I did want to mention one final thing. You know, we don't ever do this for the views. We do it to promote these student athletes. But these broadcasts for a 3A school in a small community, you know, getting anywhere between 700 and 1,000 views, not too bad. So a lot of folks are joining us. Friends, I wouldn't care if it got 2 views, honestly. We just want to promote these guys, but it's so great. Do us a favor. Make sure you like and subscribe to our YouTube channel here on SHN so we can continue to deliver these broadcasts. And we're working every week trying to implement one more thing. But we don't want it to get carried away because the main focus is just calling the game. Sometimes you can get so inundated with trying to do all this cool, fancy stuff that you lose focus. And then all of a sudden, your screen's floating with a million graphics instead of floating on the player that's making the play. So
yeah,
that's what we want to do.
Absolutely. And for all of our local folks, I mean, the sponsors are really important. They are supporting the show. They're making this possible. So, you know, like our lead sponsor, Walker County Federal Credit Union, you know, get out and talk to them. And our unofficial sponsor, Kevin Edney, who's just a bang-up financial advisor. So we got lots of places, lots of great businesses, around Walker County.
I had to show this, by the way.
Yeah.
That is our fun logo that we set up for Kevin Eddy. Well, hey, it's been fun. Ed, I appreciate you, man. Thank you for all you do. I know you work long hours, too, and to come up here, it takes a lot, and I appreciate you and appreciate this program. Looking forward to tomorrow night. We'll have pregame starting 6:30, kickoff at 7. But make sure you join us either on Spirit Radio FM or right here on the SHN YouTube channel. For Ed Watto, I'm Rob Pipp, reminding you tonight that we're not strong enough alone to make it on our own. We're really not friends. So please, please, please listen to what I'm saying. Provide a word of encouragement. Lend a hand to support. Somebody out there really needs you tonight. Let them know that you're there and that you care about them and you love them. Big thanks to Hunter McBride as well as Jackie Harper and all of those that joined us here in person. We'll see you tomorrow, 6:30 on SHN. Until then, so long, good night, and God bless from New Waverly. Thank you, Ed.
Thanks, Rob.